Hey guys, Charlie here. I hope you guys like that new intro. Let me know in the comments if I should keep using it. Also guys, I said at 400k I would do a face reveal and a Q&A video, so ask me some questions on Twitter and you can be featured in the Q&A that will be out very soon. But anyway, getting into the video, we're going to be looking at 10 YouTubers with tragic pasts. Some of the information from this video is from Draw My Lives, other videos by the YouTubers mentioned, and also other information from around the internet. Some of these are really sad, but they are also interesting. Please drop a like if you guys enjoy. Let's aim for 3,000 likes on this video because it really does help me out. So coming in at number 10, we have LeafyIsHere. Now LeafyIsHere didn't have the worst past compared to other people on this list, but it's still pretty bad. So Leafy is a commentary channel now, but when he started on YouTube in 2011 when he was 16, he was a Minecraft YouTuber. In fact, he was really depressed and he started the channel to escape and distract himself from real life. And the reason he wanted to do that was because his parents were really badly addicted to drugs. In fact, his dad was so badly addicted he even attempted suicide once and hospitalized himself. If you check out his videos now, obviously Leafy has come to terms with this. He makes jokes about drugs and even started KYS, which means kill yourself. Also, his parents have now cleaned up their act and they are no longer addicted to crystal meth. Leafy doesn't even really see his parents that much anyway now because he lives in Colorado and not Utah where his parents lived. Also, with all of the daily uploads and sometimes even twice a day uploads he does, I don't think he has any time to think about anything in real life. I know his videos can be kind of controversial at times, but you have to give him some empathy because most kids don't have to go through drugged up parents. Now coming up next is Boogie2988. So Boogie, also known as his character Francis, is an OG YouTube comedy channel who now does vlogs and gameplays as well. And so much stuff has actually happened to him in the past, it's amazing he's such a nice guy now, seeing as all of that bad stuff has happened. So when he was a kid, his parents were really depressed and angry because they were in a low income family with little opportunities. He was the youngest of 3 siblings, one of them was his sister who ran away from home and his brother who left home for college. After his sister ran away and his brother left for college, his mum was really abusive to him and actually hit him a lot. There was one crazy time when his mum was driving him back home from school and then all of a sudden she starts clawing out his eye and he had to jump out of a moving car to save his own eye. Imagine your mum doing that to you. Could you ever forgive her? His dad was an alcoholic who drank 30 cans of Blue Ribbon beer every single day, which has put Boogie off beer for life. A little bit later, all of the bad things his dad did caught up to him and he had a stroke. He then couldn't talk, hear, or even speak. And as you guys can imagine, that made his mum even more angry and even more depressed and, because of that, even more abusive. During this time, he was also getting bullied a lot at school because of his appearance, because he was fat, he had glasses, and also lots of people called him ugly. A little while later, his dad tragically died of cancer. His mum then had something really bad happen to him as she fell down the stairs and broke her leg permanently, which drove her pretty much totally insane. And then sadly, a little bit after that, his mum actually died. And because all of his parents had died and all of that bad stuff had happened to him, he got really depressed and he didn't leave his house for 7 years. Which was one of the reasons why he's so overweight. He was also so unhappy that that Christmas he made plans to kill himself. But one thing changed that because he met a really special girl called Des who is now his wife. He's now happy despite his past terrible life. I wish him the best because to be honest, I think he's one of the nicest people on this entire website. So coming up next is Markiplier. He's one of the biggest gaming channels on YouTube. He even has a diamond play button. But things weren't always that good for Markiplier. His mum and dad fought a lot and eventually got a divorce when he was pretty young. His mum took everything they had except for his computer, which is probably one of the reasons why he likes computers so much now. A little while later, his dad told him to come and talk to him where he handed him a note. On that note, it said he had terminal cancer, which means there's no cure. And also at that time, Markiplier didn't know what he wanted to do in terms of a career and was basically a dead end. One day, he was woken up by his mum screaming because his dad was dying. He ran into the room, grabbed his dad's hand and held his dad as he died. He said his dad's final words were saying to him, "I love you." Later on, things were looking up a bit because he got a girlfriend, which made him really happy. But at that same time, his mum didn't like his failed gaming career, so she just kicked him out. And at that same time, he got fired and couldn't afford anything. He had to buy an apartment because his mum kicked him out, but he also got fired, so he had no money. And because of all of this shit happening to him, his girlfriend ended up dumping him. And you guys are probably thinking, can it get any more stressful than this? Well, yes, he also had a bad tumor and also an appendix disease, which really stressed him out and made him get really depressed. But luckily, he recovered well from his operations and used the last of his money to invest in YouTube, and then he was very successful. I'm glad he's happy now, despite all of the difficulties he's faced getting to where he is right now. Next up is Nigahiga. He is a real OG YouTube comedy channel with almost 20 million subscribers. And you probably think he lived a happy life seeing as he's a comedian, right? Well, he was actually really badly bullied as a kid when he moved from a private school into a public school. The bullying was so bad, he even made excuses not to go into school and tried to get his mum to send him into a different school, but it never worked. In fact, the bullying got so bad at one point, he even had suicidal thoughts. And when he had that, he knew things were serious, he knew things had to change. So he decided to become the class clown to try and stop the bullying. And believe it or not, it actually worked. He made fun of himself so the bullies didn't have to, and actually made people like him because he was so funny. The other struggle he had was he was always being overshadowed by his brother, and people would even call him the worst Higa. But he later shined through when he worked really hard at judo and won a competition, beating his brother even though he had a dislocated elbow at the time. He then got into YouTube and was very successful. I'm glad he's a lot happier now than when he was a kid being bullied. This next guy you may not have heard of, he's called GayGod. He's basically a big gay YouTuber that vlogs about the struggles of being gay and also does other videos, but he's basically a role model for any gay people on YouTube. Also, he recently hit 1 million subscribers, so congratulations for that. His dad is actually in jail. We don't know why. He was kind of brief on that. Maybe he doesn't want to say too much about it, but that basically meant his mum had to work 2 jobs. Now, even when he was a kid, he suffered from anorexia and once fainted and woke up in a puddle of blood because he hit his head on a coffee table. He told his mum he was gay when he was 15 on Christmas Day, and she cried, hit him with steel-toed boots, a toy car, and smashed a mirror on his head. So yeah, his mum wasn't too keen on him being gay. Also, because it was Christmas, she took all of his presents back, which is just nasty, to be honest. Coming out to his mum was a complete disaster, but for some reason he also came out to all of his friends and they ended up all hating him. And because everyone hated him in his life at this point, he tried to commit suicide 3 times. But luckily it didn't work any of the times and he's still here today. He then finally got his first boyfriend at the age of 17, who treated him like crap and actually cheated on him 14 times. But he didn't want to break up with him because he was the only person who actually liked him. However, a little later things were getting ridiculous. He was cheating way too much and they finally broke up, which is really good for GayGod. Because he's inspired so many gay people, his mum sees what an influence he is now and now supports him. But he still does struggle with anorexia. This is another YouTuber who you may not know of, but he's still pretty big. He's called ABrandonToThePast. Now he makes videos on old video games such as classic Pokemon and other game theory videos. He had barely any friends at school and he was badly bullied because he was so shy. So while everyone else played with each other, he just played on computer games all day, especially Pokemon. When he was little, his mum and dad got into a fight and then his mum just abandoned him and he doesn't even see her now. One day, because he had no friends, he was fed up of being so lonely, so he asked a girl out on MySpace and she actually said yes. They fell in love and got married, but just after marriage, things turned a bit sour. She made him do everything she wanted or she threatened to leave him. He didn't even like the situation he was in, to be honest, and he didn't even like her anymore, but he just didn't want to be lonely. But then she took things too far when she cheated on him and got pregnant with another guy's baby. He then finally dumped her. Later on, he started messing around on the internet and made some Let's Plays on a YouTube channel and is now quite big and has over 200,000 subscribers. Coming up next is SkyDoesMinecraft. He is one of the biggest Minecraft channels on YouTube, maybe even one of the biggest game channels on YouTube. When he was a kid, both of his parents were really nasty and his dad is actually in jail right now for abuse. They left him in his crib for 2 whole months covered in crap, pee and rashes. The back of his head was completely flat as well because they never picked him up. What they did to his sister was even worse. They put his sister in a cage and then put books over the cage so that she was trapped. All of this terrible stuff caused her to get several mental disorders such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder. His mum was also addicted to painkillers and had very regular strokes and overdoses. And because his mum was freaking out the whole time, taking drugs and just generally being not nice, he didn't want to leave his room, so he just played a lot of video games. One night he woke up and heard her in the bathroom screaming, so he walked in and checked her body, and right on her stomach he saw a huge fucking stab wound. That is one way to really mess up your kid. But at least he's happy now with a really big channel and loads of awesome fans, but unfortunately his sister is still really mentally messed up. This next YouTuber is called Skye Williams. He's one of the first big gaming channels to ever blow up on YouTube. He was bullied a lot in school, which made him get really depressed and didn't even want to show up in school, so he skipped a lot of days. He also once said he was raped when he was 15, but he never mentioned that again. I don't know if he doesn't want to talk about it because it's such a traumatic event or what, but it sounds very bad. When he was about 14, his dad sat him down and told him how bad gays were and how much he hates gay people. The bad thing about this was that Skye was actually gay at the time and he knew he was gay himself. So yeah, his dad didn't really support him at all, his mum didn't either. In fact, she once said, "You're doomed to live a pathetic life." Another really sad thing to happen to Skye Williams when he was a kid was that his best friend who he was in love with ended up dying in a car crash, which made him even more depressed. After years of depression, he finally found League of Legends and actually made him get out of depression because of the big community he was in. Later on, he became big himself in the League of Legends community and then in the YouTube community. He is now very happy with himself and openly gay. This girl called Cassie runs a channel called CloudyApples, which is an animation channel on YouTube with over 500,000 subscribers. When she was a kid, she was mocked on a school bus for being Asian, and then all of a sudden everyone started mocking her. Both her and her sister were really badly racially bullied throughout their whole school career. One time, her friend's mum wouldn't let her in her friend's swimming pool because she thought her skin was made of dirt. Cassie actually ended up bullying other people as a result of her bullying, but she said she now regrets that. Her sister took a different approach by switching schools to deal with the bullying. A little later on in life, both her and her sister were diagnosed with incurable clinical depression, and one tragic night her brother called her up and said that her sister had killed herself. This really messed her up and made her really depressed for ages, but thankfully she's now coping with her own clinical depression and the death of her sister in a healthy way, and it's good that she has a big YouTube channel to use as a creative output. The last YouTuber on this list is called OMGItsFirefoxx, also known as Sanja. She's a gaming and comedy skit channel with almost 1 million subscribers. When she was younger, her mum was really depressed and stressed out and she attempted suicide a few times, hospitalizing herself for a while. While her mum was hospitalized, she stayed with her dad, who actually left his mum to date his own fucking cousin. Her dad and her aunt slash stepmom, I guess, were really nasty and abused her a lot. Up to the point that she actually called child services once and got taken away. She was then put in a foster home for girls, which was more like a prison apparently, with a lot of fights, and also they weren't looked after well. Later on in life, just after she turned 18, she started living alone. She bought her brand new own apartment and things were going good until one bad thing happened. Her best friend and a bunch of his friends broke into her apartment and stole and broke everything in it. That really messed her up and actually delayed her adulthood, but she's now much happier and trying to rebuild the connection with her mum. Before this video ends, remember, ask me some questions on Twitter at CharlieTop10s and you guys can be in the upcoming face reveal Q&A video. Check out the poll in the top right corner and you guys can vote for the saddest past. For me, I think it was Boogie, just because he's such a nice guy now, despite all of the crazy shit. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe.